What's up YouTube? How we looking? Coach Max here, back with another video. I was working on a rebuild for this week, but then there was a piece of news that was brought to my attention on Wednesday that made me smile so much, I had to do a video on that. That piece of news concerns the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if you haven't heard at this point, the Lakers are probably not going to be making the playoffs. If you are still of the belief that LeBron James is going to make it happen somehow, I'd best start reconciling yourself to the notion that it's probably not going to happen. LeBron James is on a minutes restriction for the rest of the season in order to preserve him going forward, and Lonzo Ball and Andre Ingram have both been shut down entirely due to injuries and medical problems respectively. So it's looking difficult for the Lakers to put a competitive team on the floor, never mind make a playoff push. This is a roster that needs a little bit of help to finish out the season, and help they found. Enter Andre Ingram. Andre Ingram has a fantastic story. He has spent 10 years in what we now know as the G League, working towards the dream of getting to play in the NBA. In his 10 years in the G League, he has become the league's all-time leader in three-pointers and games played. So kind of think like Steph Curry, although probably thinking of him as Crash Davis if you've seen Bull Durham is a more accurate reference. 10 years of working hard and keeping his eye on the prize paid off on April 9th, 2018, where he was called up by the Los Angeles Lakers for the final 2 games of the season. Now, I am kind of winging this because it is a last-minute change, so I don't have a lot of data in front of me, but one thing I definitely remember from looking this up that day was that Andre Ingram is now the oldest American rookie in the NBA since 1964. There have been a couple of overseas guys who made their debuts much late. I'm thinking like Pablo Prigioni was one of them if I remember correctly. But no American, not since Andre Ingram. Now, his debut would just be a curious footnote if he only got in around garbage time and only did a little bit here and there. But he actually did a highlight performance on his debut. If I remember correctly, again, I don't have the data in front of me, I believe he scored 19 points. I definitely know he made 4 3-pointers because I saw a highlight reel of those shots. And I remember thinking, this guy has pretty interesting form, but if it's going in, who cares? Now, some might say that the call-up was kind of a meaningless thing in the grand scheme of things. The games certainly were meaningless. The Lakers weren't making the playoffs that year either. But you know what? The games were not meaningless to Andre Ingram. All you have to do is see his reaction when he got the news that he would be going to the NBA, that he would get to live his dream, that all of his hard work paid off. You can't help but smile and be happy for the guy. It might also be easy to think that this is just like a flash of lightning, a one-time thing, couldn't possibly happen again. Except this time, lightning struck twice. The Lakers needed players, especially players that can shoot, and Andre Ingram can definitely fit that bill. Which got me to thinking, what if Andre Ingram got to be on the Lakers for the whole season this year? What if that call-up was not just a one-time thing, but he actually made the roster and was able to contribute? Sure, Andre Ingram doesn't quite fit the vision of this team as LeBron James had initially built it, but it's safe to say that that vision hasn't quite panned out yet, at least for now. Really though, I just kind of want to give Andre Ingram the chance to do what he wants to do and what the fans would love to see him do. Shine bright on the world's biggest stage. With the power of 2K, we can make that happen. Let's get started and I'll explain. So, here is our man of the hour. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Coach, Andre Ingram isn't an 86 overall. And to that I say, yes, you are correct. Now you're probably also thinking, Coach, did you just make him more powerful for the purposes of this video? To that I say, yes and no. What you're actually seeing here is the Andre Ingram Moments card from NBA 2K18's My Team, or rather the same stats on that, because obviously there isn't an Andre Ingram Moments card in NBA 2K19, and I don't play My Team enough so I wouldn't know anyway. But interestingly enough, offensively, at least as far as shooting goes, this isn't actually that much better than regular Andre Ingram. His ratings were pretty high across the board. Where he really ends up shining now, if we scroll down a little bit, is in his ball control and his passing. Now he's actually somewhat of a point guard, and especially in his defense, if we scroll down a little bit more, there's some really crazy stats, namely 85 block for a 6'3" guard and an 84 shot contest. That makes him almost like, I wouldn't say Russell Westbrook, but, you know, maybe the dollar store version of Russell Westbrook. Wow, that actually sounds kind of wrong, I apologize. So, yeah, basically we're going to see if this is going to be enough to get the Lakers possibly over a hump. I mean, they realized too late they needed shooting, so what did they do? They went out and picked up the best shooter in G League history. And as far as his badges go, okay, nothing too fancy there. He does have bronze catch and shoot, bronze corner specialist, and bronze deep range deadeye, but that's about it. So we're going to run with this at first, and then after this season we're going to run it again, but this time with a slightly different Andre Ingram. I'll cover that once we get to it. But for the meantime, we do need to readjust this roster a little bit, so give me one moment and let's do just that. With Andre Ingram on the team and Lonzo Ball probably going to be spending some minutes at the 2, we can get rid of one of our shooting guards. My first thought was trading Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, mostly because I don't like that contract all that much, even though he is okay. So I figured I'd just see what kind of offers I would get for him, and this absolute gem landed in my lap, sending KCP and Lance Stevenson to the Thunder in exchange for Steven Adams and a second-round pick that isn't going to matter because we're not going that far in the season. I have no idea why the Thunder would even remotely want to do this, basically sending their starting center to the Lakers for a couple of backups who one is overpaid and the other is kind of a meme at this point. I don't know what the Thunder are thinking, but I'm going to take this offer before they change their mind and give us a very good, actual, bona fide starting center. As much as I like JaVale McGee, you know, if you can upgrade to something like Steven Adams, you upgrade to something like Steven Adams. So with the addition of Steven Adams and the departure of Lance Stevenson, we do have a bit of a logjam at the center position, and we have need of a power forward, preferably someone who can play defense to go with that second unit. We do have Mike Muscala and Mo Wagner, who are both capable of playing at the 4, but they're both more stretches than defenders, so we don't necessarily need both of them on the roster. So I figured, let's see what we can get for Mike Muscala, and it led us to this, sending Mike Muscala and that 2022 OKC pick over to the Suns for Richaun Holmes. Now, that 77 is a little deceptive. I don't think he defends quite well enough to go for that, but he'll also be a little bit of offense, and quite frankly, there weren't any really better options in free agency or for other offers that I got for either Muscala or Wagner. So I figured, let's take it. I've had some good success with Richaun Holmes in the past. Let's see if we can keep it going. So the Muscala trade ended up being the last move I made, so let's take a look at the rotations before we get started since we're running with a little bit of an unorthodox lineup. Now, Andre Ingram isn't technically a point guard, but he is one of the best playmakers on this team based on his ratings, so I'm going to have him at the point. And this is mostly so we can have Brandon Ingram at the 2 because, quite frankly, he's too good to leave on the bench as he normally would be if we just let 2K decide. LeBron James is, of course, at the 3, Kyle Kuzma at the 4, and Steven Adams at the 5. Lonzo Ball will actually be the 6th man, even though JaVale McGee and Richaun Holmes are higher rated, but that's mostly going to be because if anybody gets substituted first, it's probably going to be the players in the backcourt, so I want him to get more minutes there. JaVale McGee is the next in line, followed by Richaun Holmes, who, as I mentioned before, I switched to power forward, which jumped his overall up a little bit. And then rounding things out, we have Rajon Rondo and Josh Hart. And backing everybody up will be Tyson Chandler, Reggie Bullock, and Mo Wagner. And then we have Isaac Bonga going to basically sit in reserves, and Jonathan Williams and Alex Caruso heading to the G League. So it's a pretty interesting setup. The Lakers are not really built all that great, but since we only made a couple of moves, we have something that kind of works, and that is mostly because we have Andre Ingram. So I'm going to do a little bit more off-screen tinkering just to make sure everything is fine-tuned, and then we will get set to get this going. One quick note before we get started, since this is for fun and not something with any particular goal or challenge in mind, I went ahead and turned off injuries. The last thing I want is for the whole video to get derailed because LeBron James gets a groin injury and has to miss a month, or Andre Ingram has to break a leg. I mean, yes, I know I could go in and edit out those injuries, but that's time I don't want to waste. And to be honest, the main reason I did it is because I didn't want an injury pop-up derailing things every 2 or 3 weeks, as it seems in all of my practice runs. So, as before, we're going to go ahead and sim to the All-Star Draft just so we can see how the selections shake out. I don't anticipate anybody other than LeBron making the All-Star game. What we're going to be looking for is possibly over here on February 14th when we see who the All-Star participants are. I want to see if for some reason Andre Ingram is able to break into the 3-point contest. Probably kind of doubtful considering all the star power we have in the league. and if he makes it to the Rising Stars Challenge and how he does in that game. So it's mostly just for fun, just to see how things shake up. Maybe LeBron's numbers go down, I don't know, but only one way to find out, and that's to do it. On that note, ready, break! So we start off with a win over the Blazers, and then we get another win over the Rockets, and it's a pretty good one. We're on a 3-game winning streak, and then we lose to the Suns of all people. Maybe they actually benefited from that trade. So in the first 9 games of the season, we are 5-4, so not great. We do get a win over the Raptors, and we get a win over the Wolves. Things are going okay. I think this is actually better than the Lakers' start in real life. So while things are being simmed, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about future plans for the channel. Only one that I'm really thinking of right now, and that is I'm probably going to move my upload day for 2K at the very least back to Saturdays. Originally, I changed it over to Fridays to see if things would work out. Oh well, I totally forgot to send the guys to the G League, so let me go ahead and return them now. See, I knew I'd forget something in the middle of this, even when I'm recording. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and move my upload day, or at least I'm thinking of it, back to Saturdays. Originally, I moved it to Fridays under the belief that I can potentially get more of my work done on the weekends. And that way, during the week, I would be, pulling less all-nighters. I wouldn't be, trying to cram things in before work. That didn't end up happening because usually, the weekends are when I have a lot of plans. So I ended up not doing a whole lot of work on the weekends, and I was still cramming it in, only with less time to cram it in. I ended up pulling even more all-nighters. To be frankly honest, it's kind of not good for my health, which is why, the video quality has been kind of going down, I've noticed, over the last few weeks. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to do this until April. Now, as far as the Kingdom Hearts 3 streams go, those are still going to happen pretty much on schedule. So, probably going forward with the channel, or at least starting in April, there's going to be a 2K upload on Saturday afternoon. Probably going to be around anywhere between 2 to 4 like it has been before. And then, unless I have other plans or I'm going out of town, then we should be seeing Kingdom Hearts 3 around midnight to 1 o'clock Pacific time on Saturday night. I mean, technically Sunday morning. And then again on Sunday afternoon, somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. A couple people have asked me why I don't have a regular schedule for that. And that's mostly because my schedule outside of those things is not very regular for the most part. It's not like I have a designated time that I go to stream or anything like that. I basically work on this when I can in between work and seeing other things. Okay, and we've actually made it to the All-Star break because I've been talking and rambling that much, so let's go ahead and see what the selections are. Giannis and LeBron are the captains, so nothing out of the ordinary there. And taking a look at who made it, we do have Ben Simmons and Nikola Vucevic making it for the first time, just like they did before. Kemba doesn't look like he made it, which is kind of sad. D'Angelo Russell actually gets in, which is kind of cool, although, again, it's at the expense of Victor Oladipo. So, kind of bittersweet there. Nikola Jokic makes it as a starter, which is pretty cool. But yeah, no Kemba, which is kind of sad. Nice to see Kevin Love in there. I can't remember off the top of my head if he made it this time around. Kristaps Porzingis makes it, since he didn't get injured in this version of NBA history, or wasn't rehabbing an injury. I forget exactly what the situation is. So everything is pretty much to form. I'm going to go ahead and sim to February 14th, and then we'll go ahead and check stats right there and just kind of see how Andre Ingram is doing. The Lakers, however, are doing okay. I mean, they're 34-21, which I think is better than they're doing right now. I mean, we already know they're not going to get to 50 wins. So if we get to 50 wins, then I'm going to say we did good. All right, so we are just before the All-Star break. Let us check the All-Star participants to see what's going on. In the dunk contest, it'll be Donovan Mitchell, Dennis Smith Jr., John Collins, and Jason Tatum, which is a really star-studded dunk contest, not something we see very often these days, as a couple of people have pointed out. In the three-point contest, it's James Harden, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, Buddy Hield, D'Angelo Russell gets in there, and Paul George. So interesting, but no Andre Ingram, but I kind of didn't think that was going to happen if we're going to be completely honest. In the Rising Stars game, we have Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, DeAndre Ayton, John Collins, Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox. Andre Ingram makes it just as I thought. Josh Jackson, Marvin Bagley III, Jarrett Allen on the USA side. over on the world side, just because I'm curious, Ben Simmons, we totally forget he's a second-year player at this point. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Luka Doncic, Lauri Markkanen, Cedi Osman, Frank Ntilikina, Dylan Brooks. I didn't realize he would be qualifying for that. Well, so do I know. Rodions Kurucs, TJ Leaf. I didn't realize TJ Leaf also qualified for the world team. I think 2K is a little bit broken. I don't know. This is something I'd have to look up another time. So yeah, let's take a look at the season stats, just so we can see what's what. LeBron James averaging just under 25 points, which is about to form, but I think his rebound numbers are actually down a little bit. Yep, his rebounding is down. Assists are right there, so that's good. His turnovers are down, which is also nice, and he's shooting the ball a little bit better. Kyle Kuzma is about average. Looks like he's losing a little bit on points and a little bit on rebounds. I think that's probably because we have Steven Adams in the lineup, and he's doing a little bit more at the center position. He is playing about the same amount of minutes, so there's that. Brandon Ingram regressed a little bit, and as far as points go, rebounds is a significant drop, though assists are pretty good, and I'm okay with that. His efficiency is okay, except for that free throw percentage. He's shooting 58% from the line. In my opinion, if I can shoot free throws better than you, then that's a problem. But, then again, I work on my free throws all the time, so I really shouldn't do that. Anyway, Andre Ingram, here's the one we want to see, and looks like the 2-game stretch that he had is pretty indicative of his performance, at least as a moments guard. He's averaging 12 points a game, just under 3 rebounds. He's averaging 5 assists, which is pretty nice considering he is playing the point guard spot and not, at his normal position of shooting guard. His 3-point percentage, 38, not great. Shooting very good from the line. And this is actually interesting. I did not realize that he played 32 minutes in those 2 games. I thought he came in off the bench and didn't play all that much. I guess I should go back and look at those games. So kind of makes me wonder what the per 36 would actually turn out to be. Ooh, yeah. By the per 36 numbers, he is definitely a quality starting shooting guard at the very least. Possibly even a quality starting point guard with those assist numbers. So good to see that he's doing pretty well. JaVale McGee is having a great season off the bench, coming up with 11 points and just under 5 rebounds. So definitely doing better than he did in Golden State, though he is doing it under 18 minutes a game as opposed to the 9.5 he was playing at Golden State. Interesting thing that I think about, and I think it comes up every once in a while when people don't ask why JaVale starts or plays more minutes. I remember reading somewhere, I can't remember where, although I don't think it was Wikipedia, that part of the reason he doesn't play as much as he does is because he has asthma. So, that kind of activity is not super good for him. Steven Adams, on the other hand, has fallen off a little bit, scoring less, rebounding about the same. I want to say that part of the reason for this is because he's not playing with Russell Westbrook and Paul George, but that doesn't actually make sense because now he's playing with LeBron and all that. Well, I think in the Thunder he was the third option, to the best of my knowledge, whereas here he would be fourth option at best. So I don't know. I think that probably because he's playing on a better overall team. There isn't like an Andre Roberson who doesn't shoot, or who's the other guy who doesn't shoot? Alex Abrinas? I don't know. I gotta watch more basketball, I think. Richaun Holmes is doing about as good as he normally does. Lonzo Ball has fallen off quite a bit, but this is at least in part due to him playing a bench role as opposed to being the starter this time. So if we look at the per 36, about as much to be expected. He would be averaging 11 assists per 36 minutes, which is not bad. I mean, it's not number 2 pick good, but I'd take it. And Josh Hart also kind of fell off. Is he playing less? Oh yeah, he's playing less minutes. So everybody here is playing less minutes, and I think that's mostly because I believe in a 10-man rotation as opposed to, the 7 or 8 or sometimes 9 that most coaches run with. I'm not sure if that's indicative of something I do wrong in this game or what. Whatever. Either way, that's me rambling a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and skip over to the end of the season in just a bit, and I'll see you there. So we finished the regular season with just over 50 wins, specifically with a record of 51-31. For a LeBron James team, that may not seem very impressive, but it is actually good enough for the second seed in the Western Conference. Stephen Curry is your regular season MVP with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists. Trae Young is Rookie of the Year, averaging 25.5 points. Pretty impressive numbers for a rookie, to go with 3 rebounds and 7.5 assists. Chris Middleton is the 6th Man of the Year, which again always trips me out because I could have sworn he's in the starting lineup, but either way, 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists off the bench. Giannis Antetokounmpo is Defensive Player of the Year, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks to go with 22 points. Jordan Clarkson wins Most Improved with 18.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Steve Kerr is Coach of the Year, leading the Warriors to a 62-20 record. As I said, we had the second seed, so that kind of tells you just how far apart the Warriors and the Lakers are. Your All-NBA first team is Stephen Curry, James Harden, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic. Your All-NBA second team, John Wall, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and Anthony Davis. And your third team, Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, Blake Griffin, and Nikola Vucevic. Your all-defensive first team, John Wall, Victor Oladipo, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis. And your all-defensive second team, Russell Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Paul George, and Rudy Gobert. And your all-rookie first team, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Marvin Bagley III, DeAndre Ayton, and Colin Sexton. And your all-rookie second team, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jaren Jackson Jr., Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr., and Kevin Huerter, a name I do not see come up here very often. I was actually tempted to set Andre Ingram to be a rookie to see if he would actually make one of these teams, but yeah, that would be kind of going away from reality just a little too much. So, as I mentioned, we are the second seed in the playoffs. Over on the West, the picture is pretty much to form. Utah makes it, as does Houston, Portland, OKC, and Denver. Over in the East, we have a few interesting matchups. It'll be the Nets going up against the first-seeded Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. Then you have Bucks versus Pacers, Celtics versus Wizards, and Toronto versus the Pistons, who probably weren't going to make it this year, but it's kind of good to see how they turn out here. So we're not really going to go by round here. Let's just simulate the whole playoffs and see what happens. See if maybe LeBron actually makes it to the finals or not. Anyway, the sim engine runs a little bit slowly. We get our first win against the Spurs. We don't take the second, but we do take the third, the fourth, and the Spurs look like they want to battle back, but we stop them. It's a 4-2 series win in the first round. We go up against the Thunder in the semifinals, and we completely obliterate them, but we're going to have to deal with the Rockets or the Warriors, most likely the Warriors, and that is pretty much true to form. Let's see how the Warriors do. Hey, LeBron actually does take a game. They take 2 games, and it actually may be a competitive series. We have the lead, and it's going to a Game 7. We lose in Game 7 of the conference finals to the Warriors. Warriors-Bucks in the finals, and the Warriors take care of things pretty handily, taking the championship in 6 games. Stephen Curry is your finals MVP, averaging 31.7 points for the series to go with 3.8 rebounds and just under 10 assists. He almost had a double-double to go in the finals. So it was actually a pretty good thing. The Lakers made the playoffs, which is more than I can say for how they would be doing this year. So obviously having a good shooter on the capability of Sapphire Bowman's Andre Ingram would be pretty good. Let's actually take a look at the season standings and see how they, not season standings, the season stats, I mean. See how they went. Oh, that's the playoff stats. That's not what I wanted. Season stats. Here we go. Well, sure, it takes a while to load. So LeBron James's numbers were a little bit down. Actually, yeah, they were a little bit down, averaging 24 points as opposed to 27.5. But, you know, he's got better talent around him, I guess. I mean, that's the only explanation I've got. But the real one we're looking for is Andre Ingram, who averaged 12.5 points to go with 3 rebounds and 5 assists. So, as far as numbers go, that's not the greatest for a starting shooting guard in the NBA. In fact, I believe if we actually take a look at the league leaders and just look at shooting guards. Okay, so right at the top you have Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Zach LaVine, pretty familiar names. You keep scrolling down. Lou Williams outscored him, but that is kind of his thing. Bradley Beal, Jordan Clarkson outscored him, and he's, you know, I don't know if he's starting for the Cavs in this lineup or not. I don't know. Drew Holiday, generally a defensive-minded guard, ended up outscoring him. Tyreek Evans, who I think was not the starter, not sure. Harris LeVert, Tim Hardaway Jr. So yeah, a lot of names kind of ahead of Andre Ingram, but he is actually 24th among shooting guards, which again is not bad, but it's kind of not super great. But it is kind of in keeping with his 2 games that he played in last year, so I guess he performed pretty much to form, or maybe a little bit better than I thought. Well, go figure. Anyways, as I said, we are going to run this one different way, so give me one moment to get everything back to before, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So this is a slightly different version of Andre Ingram. What I've done here is take the moments version, but lower the ratings in some cases to make it a little bit more believable as far as the overall rating goes, but I decided to accentuate his shooting in a different manner, which I'll get to in a bit. So if you scroll down his ratings here, everything is either about 10 points less than the moments version, or they're what his base version is. So I didn't make him weaker in any particular area, just some of the areas where he was made stronger, I turned them down. One aversion to this is all the way here at the bottom. I gave him 99 intangibles to give him a little bit more of a boost in the clutch, just to kind of see what happens. I mean, I don't think it's going to have that much of an effect on his actual performance, but you never know. Where I chose to accentuate his shooting, however, is over in his badges. We've given him all of the gold outside shooting badges. So he has gold catch and shoot, gold corner specialist, gold deep range deadeye, so on and so forth. I also gave him the clutch performer badge, which the Moments one had, Harden, legendary work ethic to, kind of build up his training gains a little bit, and spark plug because he'll be making big plays out of timeouts. Originally, I was kind of thinking he was going to be coming off the bench, but in 2K's wisdom, he's in the starting lineup, and Brandon Ingram is actually going to be the 6th man. I'm not sure exactly what 2K's logic here is, but, we're going to go with it. So I'm also not going to tinker with this lineup, so we're not going to trade for Steven Adams, for example, or whatnot. We're just going to let 2K run it entirely the way it wants. So the way it's choosing to do it is having Lonzo Ball as the starting point guard, Andre Ingram starting as shooting guard, LeBron James at small forward, only getting 31 minutes. It was almost like he's already on a minutes restriction, though I know part of the reason for this is because Luke Walton runs an 11-man rotation in 2K for whatever reason, and Kyle Kuzma at the 4, JaVale McGee at the 5, Brandon Ingram as the 6th man, as I mentioned, then Rondo, Josh Hart, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Tyson Chandler. So we actually don't really have a power forward sub, so that's obviously 1 point. Oh, I forgot, Lance Stevenson, 11th man rotation, so I believe he is the power forward sub. No, he's not. So I'm not exactly sure what they're thinking with this particular lineup. Maybe LeBron James is at the forward, the 2nd unit. I don't know. 2K makes some decisions that I just have to question sometimes, but, it's a game and you really can't figure things out. So, that being said, we're just going to go ahead and get this started here. So, as before, we're going to go ahead and sim to the All-Star Draft and, kind of check the stats here. My prediction, based on some of the practice run-throughs I've done, is that we're not going to see that much of a change in Andre Ingram's actual stats. Maybe he'll average another point or two. Maybe he'll shoot a little bit better of a percentage. If I remember correctly, previously he was shooting in, the mid to high 30s, which is a little low. But only one way to find out, and that's to see it. So without further ado, ready, break! And we're off to a pretty flying start to begin with once again. Man, I spoke too soon. We win one, then we lose 1, 2, 3. We got to win against the Nuggets and against the Spurs. So this Lakers team is already, I wouldn't say off to a good start. We're 4-6 in our first 10 games, so this is kind of playing out a little bit like real life. Now, I don't really have much to say at this point, so I will go ahead and skip ahead to the All-Star Draft. The All-Star Draft wasn't actually all that interesting this time around. It was basically Team Giannis versus Team LeBron, and the usual names that made it. So I went ahead and skipped to February 14th to see if Andre Ingram was in the Rising Stars Challenge. Unfortunately, he was not, mostly due to averaging only 9.5 points a game at this point in the season. And the other half of that reason being Kyle Kuzma, who did get the nod, averaging 20, which is pretty impressive to see. Now, as I said, Andre Ingram is only averaging 9.5 points, but if you look into the stats a little bit more, he's only getting about 7 shots a game, and he's only playing about 23.5 minutes, which is not even really starter quality level minutes. Brandon Ingram, who's the 6th man, is getting a little bit more time than he is. So honestly, I think Andre Ingram would be doing better with more playing time and more shot attempts. I mean, he is shooting 45% from 3, but he's only getting about 4.5 attempts per game. Give him the rock a little bit more, let him shoot. In my opinion, I think that would probably be a little bit better. As for the team, the Lakers are currently 29-28, currently the 8th seed at this point in the season. So I don't know if this is about where they were at the All-Star break. If I remember correctly, they were just outside the playoff picture, so I guess they're doing a little bit better. Kind of hard to say. Who knows exactly what will happen in the next games to come. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for right now. We're going to see if the Lakers even make the playoffs. It's certainly not a sure thing as it was in the last scenario, so we'll go ahead and skip to the end of the season and we'll see what happens. So the bad news is the Lakers do not win 50 games. In fact, nowhere close, finishing with a 44-38 record. So whoever it was on Twitter that said wake them up when a LeBron James team does not win 50 games, there's probably going to be some alarm clocks in your future. The good news is the Lakers do make the playoffs, so there's that at least, I guess. Anyway, Stephen Curry is once again your MVP, Trae Young is once again your Rookie of the Year, Serge Ibaka is 6th Man of the Year this time, which is kind of interesting considering if I remember correctly, he's actually starting and Marc Gasol's coming off the bench. I haven't seen the Raptors play in a little while, so I don't know if they've changed that, but either way, 13.3 points, 9.5 boards, perfectly reasonable numbers. Giannis Antetokounmpo is once again Defensive Player of the Year. Nikola Jokic wins Most Improved this time with 20.5 points, almost 15 rebounds, and 8 assists. Very good numbers. If I remember correctly, this is still a pretty significant jump from his last time numbers. Not so much in the points department, but definitely in the rebounds and the assist department. So, yep, I would say Most Improved is deserved here. And Steve Kerr is once again Coach of the Year, leading the Warriors to a 65-17 record. Yep, same business as usual, essentially. All-NBA First Team, Stephen Curry, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic. All-NBA Second Team, James Harden, John Wall, Paul George, Kevin Durant, Nikola Vucevic actually breaking in there this time. And All-NBA Third Team, Damian Lillard, Mike Conley, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, and Joel Embiid. All-Defensive First Team, John Wall, Victor Oladipo, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis. All-Defensive Second Team, Russell Westbrook, Drew Holiday, Draymond Green, LeBron James, and Rudy Gobert. All-Rookie First Team, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley III, and Colin Sexton. All-Rookie Second Team, Jaren Jackson Jr., Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Kevin Knox. So as I said, we do make the playoffs. We are the 7th seed going up against the Thunder in the first round, so that is a rough matchup. As far as the rest of the seeding, the Timberwolves actually are in there as the 5th seed, which I don't think anybody would have seen coming at all. Over on the East, it's a little bit more interesting. The Detroit in the 8th seed is pretty much, I wouldn't say typical, but we've already seen that before. The Orlando Magic in the 6th seed, however, that's something we haven't seen very often. And Philly only manages to get the 4th seed, but they get the Washington Wizards. I almost said the Warriors because, well, they're my hometown team, as I mentioned before. So I think that's probably going to be a season that's won. I'm honestly not that optimistic about the playoff chances. I don't think they're going to repeat going all 7 games of the conference finals, but stranger things have happened, so let's see how it shakes out. And we're off to a bad start, losing 2 games, losing 3 games, and we get swept in the first round. That would have to be a big letdown for LeBron James. He, claws his way to the playoffs, and they got swept in the first round. So that kind of tells me that maybe shutting him down was a good idea. As I mentioned before, it kind of sucks. I don't think anybody wants to see it, but from a long-term standpoint, it makes sense. You're probably not going to make the playoffs, and if you do make the playoffs, you're probably going to have this happen to you. Celtics and Thunder in the finals. That's an interesting matchup I haven't seen before. And the Celtics won just as I pretty much figured they would. Kyrie Irving is Finals MVP, averaging 25 points, 5 rebounds, and just under 7 assists for the series, to go with just under 2 steals as well. So, yeah, as I was saying before, shutting down LeBron James kind of makes sense. If you're not going to make it to the playoffs, you might as well tank a little bit, preserve him a little bit more. I mean, I know he can go, but that just because you can doesn't mean you should. Also, while I'm on that subject, prayers out to Brandon Ingram, because blood clots are a serious thing. I mean, it hasn't been all that long since Chris Bosh was basically forced to retire as a result of it. And even if you try to play through it, it's still kind of a dangerous thing. Anything involving, your circulatory system, involving your heart, yeah, there's not really much, joking that I can do about this. I just hope that the issue can be resolved. I mean, he is still young, so I don't think it's going to be a bad thing, but it would be just, shameful. I wouldn't say shameful, that's the wrong word here. It would be tragic. There we go, that's the word I'm looking for. It would be tragic if this would cause his career to be, ending prematurely, because he was playing some of the best basketball I had ever seen. Some of my friends in the office who are also Lakers fans also loved what they were seeing there. Yeah, so I do definitely hope he has a speedy recovery. Alright, before I start rambling too much, let's go ahead and bring it in right now. Thank you for sticking with me through this. It was just a little fun thing I wanted to do when I saw that Andre Ingram had gotten a 10-day contract again and was going to be back in the NBA. It's a great story. Now I know he's probably not going to be able to be in there permanently. At age 33, going on 34 at this point, it's a little old to actually be an everyday NBA player, but he definitely has a place in the league, and it's just a great story. I mean, I saw the standing ovation. I saw a good chunk of that first game that he played, where he, scored the 19 points. If I remember correctly, it was 19 points. I honestly don't remember too much, but it's a good story, and that's the sort of thing that would even give someone as old as me hope. Yes, I know I'm, not so good at basketball, so there's no chance I'm going to be getting a 10-day contract with the Golden State Warriors anytime soon, unless maybe they want to do some really huge publicity stunt. Okay, I'm rambling again. Yeah, this is what happens when I, just do something for fun and I'm not really scripting it. So yeah, let's bring it in. Thank you very much for watching the whole way through. If you liked this, or you don't mind listening to me ramble, hey, leave a like on this video, leave a comment in the comment section, tell me what you think about the Lakers shutting down LeBron and Brandon Ingram at this point. And if you really want to help me out, subscribing to the channel, helping it grow, that's the best thing you can do. That lets me know you appreciate what I'm doing and you'd like to see more of it. As I've mentioned before, if you're new here, I do drop NBA 2K content on Fridays, though as I mentioned earlier in the video, I may be moving that to Saturday afternoons, and currently I'm streaming Kingdom Hearts 3 on Saturday nights and Sunday afternoons, and that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about upcoming changes to the channel in a future video. I've got a few things in mind, as well as a couple of rebuilds that I was working on, but didn't, actually put out today. Anyway, that's enough for me. Thank you for watching. That's all for now. Until next time, take care, y'all.